Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mindful Place Summit. I'm your host, Crystal Jensen, and today we're sitting down with Dr. Arayeh Norouzi. She has a PhD in psychology with a focus on mindfulness. She is a rapid transformational coach, mindful living, conscious parenting speaker, and corporate mindfulness trainer. She masterfully combines science with heart based tools to create a transformational and tangible impact on her clients so they can live from a place of love, joy, peace, and power instead of lack and fear, and building that harmonic relationship with themselves and their loved ones at home and work. She is endorsed by Dr. Shefali, the founder of Conscious Parenting and Oprah Winfrey's favorite parenting expert. Thank you so much for watching. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today we have Dr. Arayeh Norouzi, and she's here to talk all about the power of our thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm blessed to be here.
I'm super excited to have you. I'm real curious about why our thoughts are important from your perspective.
Wow, that's a great question. I was just talking about it because literally everything starts in the thought, with a thought. So unfortunately, they're all unconscious. So as Carl Jung says, unless you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. So they're running our life. Believe it or not, we have average 50,000 thoughts a day, but they're literally unconscious, but they're driving us because every thought leads to a feeling and every feeling leads to a behavior, right? So we're literally running our life based on these unconscious thoughts and limiting beliefs or beliefs that we've had from 0 to 7 years old. Here's the thing, those are that were kind of established in our brain in our childhood from 0 to 7 years old, most of them. So that's why we have to be really cognizant of these thoughts and know what's driving our current action, current feeling, current habits, and current decisions. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you talk about your thoughts and then they turn into feelings, what can we do about those feelings?
Okay, that is another great question because so we can usually when it comes to feelings, I suggest two ways. One way is the analytical way, which is actually kind of pondering or investigating what is the original thoughts. So that's why I really suggest a journal to figure out what is this feeling. First of all, become aware, oh, I'm feeling a little bit icky, because we usually are not aware of these feelings. We probably have a handful of feelings like bad, mad, sad, and happy, but we have hundreds of feelings, right? So let's become aware of the feelings first, and then we can go to the analytical route and see, okay, what kind of thought is creating these feelings, and maybe we can flip the thoughts. We can just nip it in the butt. But the feeling route, which is the second route of encountering the feelings, is to really connect to our heart where they reside. The feelings are in our bodies, and the feelings have messages. They're messengers. They have some sort of message for us. Let's connect to them and feel them where they are in our body, like is it in our head, is it in our throat or heart, and connect to them. Now, if you don't connect to them, they're going to turn into emotions, and emotions are kind of the bodily reaction of whatever we have off of those unfelt feelings. So we have to be very familiar with these feelings and really feel them. The good news is that the maximum duration of each feeling is 90 seconds. So if you just allow it and really feel the feeling, it will dissolve. Rumi, my favorite Sufi poet, he says the cure for pain is in the pain, which means whatever feeling we have, we just let's go there and tend to it. They have a message, honor them, and they will dissolve. They're like waves of the ocean. They won't stay, but we mistakenly think they're here to stay. That's why we learn to suppress them as children. We knew how to feel our feelings, but our parents didn't want us to feel yucky and cry and yell. So we kind of created this protective shield not to feel them and to suppress them. So now we have to relearn how to feel these feelings.
Yeah, and I can hear what you're saying. Sometimes that could be uncomfortable for some people, right? It's like recognizing, seeing, and for the first time ever acknowledging those feelings versus, shoving them down from years and years and years of those ways of parenting, so to speak, right? So what are some tools that you could recommend for our listeners today to kind of tap into recognizing what those thoughts and feelings are?
So one of the best tools, of course, is meditation. And by meditation, I mean mindfulness meditation, because there are all sorts of meditation. We can do mantra meditation, guided meditation. But mindful breathing is specifically, it's really a great tool for us to understand that we actually think these feelings. I'm a meditator of 30 years, okay, but I did mantra meditation all my life. And until 6 years ago, where actually I started learning about mindfulness in academia. So my PhD thesis, dissertation, is about mindful breathing. And when I was reading the literature, I'm like, oh, what are they talking about? 50,000 thoughts? What does that mean? I didn't even know I had these thoughts, right? Because it's very mechanical. So unless we do mindful breathing and mindful living, we don't know that we have these thoughts. So, and mindful breathing is super, super easy. You just bring your attention to the sensation of your breathing on your chest or under the nose. This here is a little bit harder. So on the chest, where it goes up and down and up and down, and you pay attention there. Just pay attention there. As soon as a thought comes, you let go and you come back to your breath. That's it. Or, you can imagine it's just a cloud, let the cloud pass and you're the sky. Come back to breath. Or it's a wagon and a train, let the train pass, don't jump on the train, come back to breath, right? So this is how we become, oh, I'm thinking. At the beginning, we can even label, oh, I'm judging, I'm worrying, I have fear. So that's how we befriend our thoughts, right? We know that we are thinking them. And unfortunately, most of our thoughts, the 50,000 thoughts, most of them are fear thinking. Most of them are negative, because our primitive brain, right, is trying to protect us, right? So we keep thinking about the regrets about the past and the worries about the future, the past and the future. So by bringing our attention to our breath, which is this moment, we are dismantling these mainly lies about the past and the future, because past and future, they're like lies. They don't exist, right? Past is not here and future is not here. The only moment we have is this moment, right? So that's why I suggest, like, we're eating something, pay attention to the taste of the food. A thought comes, you let go, you come back to the taste. Where do I taste it? Tip of my tongue, back of my tongue, the sides of my tongue. If I'm looking at, like, walking, look at the tree. Wow. I remember I read the book Joyful Wisdom, and it's like it was the first time I saw a tree. Seriously, it was like 15 years ago. Wow, look, what is that? It felt like this big monster. What kind of creation is this? So really pay attention and use our five senses to bring our attention to the present moment, right? You walk beside the ocean, hear the waves, hear the birds. When we pay attention to our present moment awareness, then our working memory, that has a very limited capacity, is going to be devoted to that present moment experience, which, by the way, is neutral. There's no good or bad, right? Therefore, we become happy, right? Therefore, our brain doesn't have any other resources left to think about the past or the future, right? So that's how mindful breathing and mindful living is one of the best way to become aware of these thoughts and literally question them, like not believe them, write them down, flip them. He shouldn't have done that. Well, he should have done that because he didn't know any better. That's how his wiring in his brain is being built. So yeah.
I love that. I love the pausing and just allowing whatever you're doing, wherever you are, if you're eating, walking, breathing, just to be in that moment of having that. It's almost like having that deepened awareness of just being. Right. And I reference when you're speaking to some of the practice I do with the children here at our center, and some of them have never hugged a tree before or leaned against a tree or felt the tree support them. Right. And really look deeper into the bark and into the leaves and just that deepened awareness, that focused attention. So when you speak, I can, in my mind, I'm storytelling kind of experiences, and I definitely resonate with what you're saying. Absolutely. So you have a beautiful giveaway for our event. It's a resource with a parenting series. Did you want to talk a little bit about that for our listeners?
Sure. Yeah. So if your audience can go to drarayeh.com, and there's like free I think three videos about conscious parenting, where I actually part of it is about like parenting. Unfortunately, traditional parenting is about fixing the child, fixing the behavior, the symptom, but it's about, so conscious parenting is mainly 50% at least of it is about us. What are those thoughts that we have? What thoughts are actually triggering us in this moment? So we are not being effective as parents, and we are trying to mold the child and fix the child and get angry and we yell, and the child cannot be, live or grow to their essence the way that we weren't to, right? Because again, when children are throwing a tantrum, or they're upset, or they're yelling, parents are uncomfortable, and we try to fix the situation or try to make the child to stop and all those things. So we just come back to our senses and feel those feelings and find out about those thoughts, those fears in the future. If a child doesn't do homework, oh, he's gonna turn homeless. All those unconscious thoughts are driving us and making us really irritated and triggered in the moment, so we cannot be effective as parents. So yes, they can find that those three little videos on my website, and yes.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. We've got all of your speaker links below here on the page, so we'll make sure that everybody can find you and the link to that. And also, you've offered up a 30-minute consultation, so anybody that's looking to connect more around conscious parenting can kind of reach out and connect with you as well there.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention something. I was thinking, like I lost some a train of my thought. So that mindful breathing, I think it's great for children when they, like, we snuggle with them at night. So we ask them to put their right hand, one of the hands on the heart and one on the belly, and they just pay attention there where it goes up and down and up and down, and thoughts come, you will let go and you come back to breath. So if they do this for a minute or two at night, and when it's dark and we're snuggling with them, we are associating this anchor in NLP, that this is called anchor, with the hands, with that state of relaxation and assurance and love. And throughout the day, when they get anxious, as soon as they do this, because they're already programmed it in their brain, then they just calm down. As soon as they do this, they don't even have to pay attention to their breath. Just the movement of the hand will bring them down to that relaxation. Also, there are other, I'm sure you teach them to your kids, to your kids as well. So like sphere breathing throughout the day,
I love that.
like that, or finger breathing. So breathe in, breathe out, all those things, and it would just help the kids to come back to their essence, and then put the fight or flight back, deactivating and deactivating those.
Beautiful. And it also helps the adult or the parent or the educator, right? Doing it with them, so that you get this moment of break in your day, or that moment of just being throughout your day, which I completely resonate with you. When you're talking, it's beautiful because I have the Hoberman sphere, but I've never thought about just using our hands. So I really am going to take that and try it out as well, because, it's easy for us to always think, well, we have to have all these tools, but you're telling me it's just at your fingertips, right? It's like our breath, our counting, our sphere, all of that is just well put together by our hands, which is
yes. For little ones, they can lay down. You can put like a little toy on their tummy, and they just pay attention to the toy that goes up and down. That's also really good.
Love that. Love that. So if there was like one nugget, because you've given us so much information that I'm super grateful for, if there was one piece of advice that you wanted to give our listeners today to kind of just focus in on, what would that look like?
I would really highly suggest for parents, when they get triggered, that just create that pause and just excuse yourself if you can. Like, just, I need a breather, and then just put your hands on your heart if you can. If it's not a safety issue, of course, go to your meditation cushion, and then just take 3 deep breaths and do all these things yourself, and pay attention to your breathing, and understand that the reason you're triggered in this moment is actually an old wound, a childhood wound from 0 to 7 years old that has been just kind of like poked at. So just have that awareness and connect to that inner child and try to heal that inner child. And so you're actually in such a way that you can be an effective parent for the child, rather than just projecting your fears and your desires on the child. So I think that is super important for us parents. I really do believe conscious parenting is panacea to heal the planet, because everything starts in childhood. So just let's just have that awareness. And we always want to, try to fix the child and say, oh, the child did that and he hit the brother. But all the reason we're getting triggered is because of our inner child. And so we can actually connect to the child in front of our eyes and find out what needs are not being met, so we can connect to them in a meaningful and deserving way.
Beautiful. And, seeing triggers as being a gift, right? It's like, oh, wait a second, there's opportunity for growth here. Let's lean into that a little bit, right? What is that telling me? I always, and I wanted to share, I always would ask myself, what story am I telling myself right now?
Yes.
Is this a story or is this factual? Because you're right. A lot of the things that I've experienced are from my upbringing or my development. And it's easy for us to be this programmed, walking human, but to have that awareness to say, oh, there's a lesson here, or oh, I'm aware of that, right? They say we become our parents. And that
Mhm.
could be a good thing or a not so good thing. But the awareness piece with no judgment is, how can I move and shape shift my parenting and my own awareness of my actions, and as you're talking, I'm thinking about, I have 3 children, ages 4, 7, and 11, and they're all very different in their own development based on how I was parenting,
Exactly.
right? And to see that with no judgment, I'm like, huh, interesting.
Yeah. Yes. So the nugget is that the trigger is inside of us.
Yeah.
It's not on the outside. So let's do some discovery, right? Let's heal that inner child so we can be the adults that we are. Because believe it or not, we become the 3 or 4-year-old when we are triggered, because there's that part of the brain that was developed there and just stopped. So we
So
go back to that.
yeah, so curious to know, and thank you for sharing that. Curious to know, let's just say it's, trigger came on, and you're sitting there and you've taken your moment, you've done your breathing exercises, and it's just still sitting there. What would you suggest on how to move that energy?
Oh, there are, for example, one of the things that I suggest, you just put your hands here on your forehead and you keep it for 3 minutes. The electromagnetic field in your palms will pull the blood to smart brain. So that would just put back the fight or flight in its place. So these are the things we can do. I suggest fists of anger. You do this and you go,
Love that.
and you take the anger off and you go like that. After, just with a nice mantra. You can journal. You can again do three deep breathing, and then you can again, if you go to the analytical route, write and find the thought, and just know that, question the thought. Oh, I have this fear about somewhere 10 years or 20 years in the future. What's the point? Who knows if I'm even alive right now, right? The next second. So just bring these analytical reasonings and kind of communicate with the ego, because the ego wants to protect us, right? It's that shield around the inner child. You just communicate with the ego, say, thank you, I know you want to protect me, but here, sit at the passenger seat. I like to drive. I know what I'm doing. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful, because the ego keeps saying, no, 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 how about this? Oh no, not that here, not this here. So we're going to communicate with the ego and take charge, really, and take charge of those thoughts, so we can choose the most positive, most empowering thoughts rather than those fear thinkings. Yeah.
Beautiful. That self-discovery piece is definitely a very beautiful piece to kind of go inwards and reflect upon. So thank you for that. So anything else you want to let our listeners know before we wrap up? It's been super inspiring to hear you talk.
Oh, thank you so much. I can talk forever, so you should stop me.
No, beautiful. And thank you for your resource. As mentioned, we're going to have everything posted below here on your speaker page for our listeners. If they want to get on a 30-minute consultation with you and just hear a little bit more. Dr. Arayeh Norouzi, it's been a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching.